Hey you guys, we're back here with another discussion, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're not really talking about anything industry-wise or anything like that. Today we are going to be talking about Marketplace and Craigslist, some of the morons I've seen on there, and some etiquette that people should take if they're selling stuff on there, and overall just that kind of thing is what we're talking about today. First of all, I think I'm going to talk about the etiquette because that way people click off like halfway through the video. At least they get to see the etiquette because that's like the most important part. That's the point I'm trying to get across here, right? So a lot of the times, some of my biggest gripes are when people, first of all, don't take the listing down. If you sell something, take the listing down immediately to save people the confusion. Then all of a sudden you're getting a message on something you sold, especially when they leave the listing up for weeks. I have seen that happen before, and it's super, super annoying. There was an old Lancelot KDK or Panasonic one a while ago that I wanted to get, but they sold it ages and ages ago, and they just never took the listing down. Luckily, though, as you know, you can see it on the back of the shelf over there, I managed to get another one eventually, but still very annoying. And then that's not the only thing that they do wrong. One of the biggest annoying things that I see is that they list like $0 or something up in like the price that you'll see when like you're scrolling on one of them sites. Then you go in and read the description. It says $500 or best offer or some bull crap like that. Put the actual price there, because otherwise you're just wasting people's time and you're wasting your own time. People aren't going to want to buy the crap from you. Chances are, if you're doing that, because a lot of people probably do search by the price that's listed. So like they want something that's free. So when they go under the $0 and they see your listing, they're like, oh, okay, and they're like, oh, well, that's $500. Hell no, I'm getting out of here. And then they just keep moving on. You're not doing yourselves any favors by doing that at all. It's stupid and it makes absolutely no sense. Another thing, when it comes to people messaging you, okay, like, I get it if you're at a funeral or you're at a wedding or something, you're not going to respond instantly. But if there's just a time that like you literally just can't do anything, I get it. You don't want to give a whole bunch of whereabouts and information because people could potentially have found some way to track you and know where you live, and they're going to go break into your house. But just say, very simple, we are not available right now. I had a seller do that to me with the antique brass original, and as you know, I have that antique brass original because a few weeks later, they came back and they messaged me and they're like, yo, you can come get it now. And then they were like, oh yeah, well, we were in California, so we couldn't get the fan to you. I'm like, yeah, that's understandable. Here in California, how are you going to get a fan to me? So it's like, you don't have to give the full story, but if you aren't available, just say that we can't do it right now, just so the people know that you're not ghosting them. And that actually takes me to the next thing. If you've started a verbal commitment, I guess verbal or textual commitment, if you've said, yes, you can come get this fan, maybe mark the listing as pending or take it down temporarily, just so people don't message, continue to Here's the deal. Even if you mark it as pending, people are still going to message and be like, hey, if this person doesn't come get it, can I get it next? Like, can I be added to the list afterwards? It doesn't matter if they offer you more money. If you agreed with the first person, you should go with the first person. Even if you're losing out on money, that's your problem. You should have done more research and found out how much you should have priced it at. Of course, sometimes that won't always help. But either way, if you've made a commitment with somebody, you should probably stick through with it. Because otherwise it just makes you seem like a total POS. And if for some reason you're selling something, again, I don't know exactly how all the review things work on Craigslist and Marketplace. I don't usually bother with those things. Or, well, I've never had the pop-up after something is not like a full-on transaction, so I don't even know if you can. But either way, you're not going to want to go with that seller again, and it's just, overall, it is just a complete and total pain. It's just, and I've heard of plenty of collectors who have done all sorts of stuff. One collector, he had a few fans, I think, or maybe it was two. I think it was the two Venuses, I think, and now I'm spacing on who it was. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is they went out, they gave them a general area, like a townhouse complex or something. They get there, they're like, which unit are you? They don't respond. So they go around to a bunch of doors until they eventually find the person. Turns out that that moron accepted a better offer and was basically just trying to ghost him until that other person showed up. Fortunately, though, that collector didn't give up. Props to them. I would do the same. And yet another example I can think of is where I do actually remember this was Brian, the Cleveland fan collector. I think it was a Delta. I want to say like a Delta 1 from Casablanca. He was driving like 4 hours or something to go get this thing, and it was free. Someone offered $50, and while he was halfway there, and he was like, well, I'm halfway there, I'm not turning around. So now he had to pay a bunch of extra money for what was supposed to be a free fan. So that was ridiculous. At that point, like, honestly, if it wasn't such a drive, like if it was something really close by and someone did that to me, I'd be like, you can go screw yourself. Unless if it was extremely rare, I wouldn't do that. But if it was just like, for example, a Lady Delta, just a white Lady Delta like this one, I'd just be like, go F yourself. I'll go get another one some other time. I'm not dealing with your stupidity. But yeah, like it's just ridiculous. You shouldn't be doing that. And I believe that's a lot of the etiquette and stuff I want to talk about. Oh, and one other thing, make sure you post good pictures. And yeah, like pictures are important. Sometimes people just do a horrible job at that, and that's kind of important so people can see the fan. You don't just want to, like, one of my biggest gripes is I see people just take a picture like the top of it sitting in a box where you can hardly see what it looks like at all. Someone's looking for a specific design, they arrive at your house, they come to pick it up, they look at the bottom and like, oh, this is grossly ornate, I don't want this, I need something clean and contemporary. They put it back, and guess what? Now you didn't sell it. So try to take good pictures. That's another thing. And also pricing. Don't overprice things, don't underprice things. Know your pricing. Of course, some people, that's the problem. Some people think they know their pricing when they don't. Overall, I've seen some really funny things. For example, I have seen some really cheap Menards huggers for like $40 or $50 when they only sold for like $18 when they were new. And other just absolutely ridiculous stuff like that. Some people do a little bit too much research and they get too cocky with their prices. But anyways, now I am actually going to talk about some of my own experiences. I don't really think I've ever talked about many of them. And honestly, I could probably do a whole separate video on that. And I'm sure I'm not going to get through all my stories. So if you guys would like to see another part where I'm just talking about some of my experiences on Marketplace or Craigslist, then let me know. I can totally do that. That's easy. Anyways, so let's start with, I think this one's probably the most infuriating and the one that literally probably made me want to go commit arson. Okay, I'm joking. Anyways, so basically there was a 10-speed Lasco turn of the century, Sears Lasco, obviously, on Craigslist. We message them, no response. My dad messages them, no response. And then at this point, I'm like, okay, what the heck? Typically it's like I wouldn't bother too much, but I wanted one of those for a long time, so it was a bit more desperate than I usually was. Either way, I didn't message the seller twice, and neither did my dad, and they had really no way of knowing that me and my dad were related or were going for the same interest. So after a while, I was like, you know what? I know Dan Newman likes to go on the Craigslist and Marketplace around here to see if there's anything, because I on occasion will pick up a fan for him. So I asked him, yo, did you message the seller? And he's like, yeah, the seller seems to be unresponsive. So there's 3 of us who all really want this fan. And my dad eventually does get a message around dinner. He's like, yeah, the person did show up. And what's annoying is, first of all, just say, we've got someone to come pick it up. We'll let you know if it falls through. They didn't do that. But anyways, so then we're like, yeah, we can leave like right now. What's the address? Never frickin' heard back. I don't know. My best guess is that person did actually show up and come to get the fan. They were just late. Why the hell they didn't message us back, I don't know. That seller really sucked at what they were doing. And my dad was really pissed off. I was really pissed off. And if Dan was in the same experience as I was, I know he would have been pissed off too. But yeah, overall that was just super annoying, especially since it was a really rare, really valuable fan I've been really wanting. But unfortunately, it didn't work out, and that seller can burn in hell for all I care, honestly. That's probably, I want to say that's probably the worst seller we've had to deal with, which is, all in all, pretty mild from some of the other stories I've heard on here, so, it is what it is. But anyways, it looks like I only had time for this one story here, so if you guys do want me to do another video just talking about a bunch more stories, because I've got tons more, then yeah, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.